Hello Data Sci Nation, Matt here with a video that will show you how to install Python for Windows, set up Visual Studio Code, and run your first Python program. The links to download pages in this video are listed in the description so that you can follow along. First, let's go to python.org to download Python. Hover over the Downloads menu and then click the button under the Downloads for Windows. At the time of this recording, the version is 3.11.3, so yours may be slightly different. If you look in your computer's Downloads folder, you should see the Python version that you downloaded. Double-click that to begin installing Python. In the installation window, check the box that says Add python.exe to path. You can do this yourself after the installation, but it's easiest to just go ahead and check the box here. Click Install Now. Adding Python to the path will allow your command prompt and VS Code to execute Python without you having to type out the entire file path each time that you need to use it. And there we have it. Python is officially installed on our machines and ready for us to try it out. Let's make sure that we installed Python correctly. In your Start menu, type in cmd and press Enter, or find your command prompt and open it. In the command prompt, type Python, followed by a space and 2 dashes, and then the word version. When you press Enter, the version of Python that you installed should be displayed. If there was an error or Python wasn't found, then you may need to add Python to path manually if you didn't check the box at the beginning of the installation. Let's go ahead and install Visual Studio Code now. Over at the download page for Microsoft's Visual Studio Code, you can download whichever version that you need depending on your operating system, but for this video, we are going to install it for Windows. Click Download for Windows, and then in your Downloads folder, double-click on the Visual Studio Code installer to begin installing Visual Studio Code. Go ahead and accept the terms and conditions, after giving them a good read of course. And now you can choose to add some features that can help VS Code be more helpful in your development environment on your computer. The first and the second options, Add Open with Code, will allow you to right-click on files and open them directly in VS Code. The third option allows you to tell Windows that you want VS Code to be an editor for appropriate file types such as Python scripts or other programming language scripts. Finally, the path option will add VS Code to path for your machine so you don't have to manually do it later. No matter which selections you make, go ahead and click Next, and then click Install. Once you are finished, you can check the box that will launch Visual Studio Code and click Finish. Let's go ahead and start setting up Visual Studio Code. VS Code is where we will learn and perform all of our Python programming. Let's set this environment up so that we can learn Python syntax. Over on the left, click on Extensions. This is kind of like a library for VS Code, where you can install various add-ons to make VS Code work for different scenarios. In this case, we are going to be working with Python, so let's install the Python extension, which will provide helpful functionality such as autocomplete, syntax highlighting, code formatting, and so much more. I already have it installed, but go ahead and click on the Install button and it should install fairly quickly. The next part of setting up our development environment is to make sure that VS Code knows which Python interpreter that we want to use. Since Python is an interpreted programming language, the editor we use needs to know how to interpret the code that we write. So we can click on View, Command Palette, or you can type the shortcut Ctrl-Shift-P. Now search for the configuration option Python, select Interpreter, and press Enter. This allows us to now choose a Python version that we want to use to run our code. Select the version that you installed. In this video, the version is 3.11.3. Now let's get started in creating our first Python program. Go ahead and create a new file by going to File, New File. Now you can choose which type of file that you want to create. Select Python file, or another option is to simply create a text file and give it the file extension .py to make it a Python script file. I'm just going to go ahead and save this file as helloworld.py. Each time that we want to run our code after we make changes, we need to save it, so type Ctrl S and name your file Hello World. In the first line of the coding window, type print, followed by an open parenthesis, and Hello World in single quotes or double quotes. We will understand strings better in a future video, and will explain the use of single quotes and double quotes. And finally, a closing parenthesis. Save the file again. Now we have multiple ways to run this code. But let's just click the play icon in the top right, and that should show a terminal window below your code with the results. And congratulations, you have successfully written your first Python program. In the next few videos, we will cover Python-based syntax. I hope to see you there.